What if I told you that the blood flowing through your veins carries much more than oxygen and nutrients? What if every drop contains the deepest secrets of your personality, your hidden fears, and even your destiny? Carl Jung, the revolutionary Swiss psychiatrist, dedicated his life to unraveling the mysteries of the human psyche. But there's a connection he never fully explored, one that could forever change how you see yourself. Your blood type isn't just a medical classification. It's an ancestral map of your soul. Have you ever wondered why certain people instantly attract you while others generate inexplicable repulsion? Why do you react uniquely to stress, love, and challenges? The answer might literally be running through your veins at this very moment. Prepare yourself for a disturbing journey through the deepest archetypes of human nature, where science meets the collective unconscious and reveals truths about you that even you didn't know existed. 1. The secret code running through your veins. Deep within the crimson rivers of your body flows a language older than words, more ancient than civilization itself. Every heartbeat carries messages that your conscious mind has never learned to read, yet your soul understands perfectly. This isn't mysticism or fantasy. This is the forgotten science that connects your physical essence to the deepest layers of who you truly are. When you cut your finger and watch that red drop emerge, you're witnessing more than just bodily fluid. You're seeing the liquid autobiography of your ancestors, a cellular memory that spans thousands of generations. Each blood type emerged during specific periods of human evolution, shaped by survival pressures, environmental challenges, and the collective struggles of our species. These weren't random mutations. They were adaptations that determined whether entire populations would thrive or perish. Jung understood that our unconscious minds carry patterns that extend far beyond our individual experiences. He called this the collective unconscious, a shared psychological inheritance that influences every decision we make, every fear we feel, and every dream we chase. But what he couldn't have imagined is how literally this inheritance flows through our veins. Your blood type is like a biological passport, stamped with the experiences of hunter-gatherers who stalked mammoths across frozen tundra, farmers who first planted seeds in fertile soil, nomads who wandered endless grasslands, and the rare individuals who carried the genetic memories of multiple tribes. These aren't just historical footnotes. They're active programs running in your body right now, influencing how you respond to stress, form relationships, and navigate the modern world. Think about your most instinctive reactions. When faced with conflict, do you charge forward or carefully plan your approach? When meeting strangers, do you feel energized or drained? When making decisions, do you trust your gut or analyze every detail? These aren't personality quirks. They're echoes of survival strategies that kept your bloodline alive through countless generations of hardship. The medical establishment recognizes 4 main blood types, but what they don't tell you is that each one carries a distinct psychological signature. These signatures operate below the threshold of consciousness, like invisible hands guiding your choices and shaping your destiny. You might think you're making free decisions, but your blood is whispering ancient instructions that you follow without even realizing it. Modern life has disconnected us from these primal rhythms. We live in concrete jungles, eat processed foods, and follow artificial schedules that conflict with our deepest biological programming. This disconnect creates a constant low-level stress, a sense that something fundamental is missing from our lives. We chase success, relationships, and meaning in ways that often work against our true nature, leaving us exhausted and unfulfilled. But what if you could decode this biological blueprint? What if you could understand the ancient wisdom flowing through your veins and align your life with these deeper currents? This isn't about limiting yourself to predetermined patterns. It's about understanding your natural strengths and working with them instead of against them. Your blood type influences how your body processes different foods, responds to exercise, handles stress hormones, and even forms social bonds. It affects your energy levels throughout the day, your preferred learning styles, and the types of environments where you feel most comfortable. These influences are subtle but persistent, like a quiet background song that sets the tone for your entire life experience. The journey we're about to take together will reveal how your blood carries the memories of your ancestors' greatest challenges and victories. You'll discover why certain situations feel familiar even when you've never experienced them before, why some people seem to understand you instantly while others remain forever foreign, and why your deepest fears and strongest desires might have roots that stretch back thousands of years. This knowledge comes with both power and responsibility. Once you understand the code running through your veins, you can't unknow it. You'll start recognizing these patterns in yourself and others, seeing the hidden connections that bind us all together through the shared story written in our blood. You'll understand that every person you meet is carrying their own ancient inheritance, their own collection of genetic memories that shape how they see and respond to the world. Prepare yourself for revelations that will change how you understand not just yourself, but the entire human experience. The secrets have been flowing through you all along, waiting for you to learn their language. 2. Type O, the primitive warrior within you. Picture the vast African savanna 40,000 years ago, where survival meant constant vigilance and split-second decisions between life and death. In this harsh landscape, a specific type of human emerged, one whose blood carried the blueprint for ultimate survival. If type O flows through your veins, you're carrying the genetic memory of humanity's first and most successful hunters. This isn't ancient history gathering dust in textbooks. Every morning when you wake up, your body activates systems designed for a world of predators and scarcity. Your muscles tense slightly, preparing for action. Your senses sharpen, scanning for threats that no longer exist. Your mind craves leadership opportunities and direct challenges, because these impulses once meant the difference between your tribe eating or starving. Jung would recognize you as the embodiment of the warrior archetype, not the Hollywood version with muscles and weapons, but the deeper psychological pattern that drives someone to face danger head-on and protect others. This archetype doesn't disappear in modern life. It simply finds new expressions. You're the person who speaks up in meetings when others stay silent, who takes charge during emergencies, who can't stand watching injustice without acting. Your ancestors were the alpha leaders of early human groups. They made the tough decisions about when to hunt, when to fight, and when to flee. They carried the responsibility for everyone's survival, and this weight shaped their descendants in profound ways. Today, you might find yourself naturally gravitating toward positions of authority, feeling restless when others are making decisions that affect you, or experiencing an almost physical discomfort when forced to follow rules that seem pointless. The primitive warrior in you processes the world differently than other blood types. Where others see complexity, you see clear paths forward. Where others get paralyzed by too many options, you instinctively know which choice serves survival best. This isn't simplistic thinking. It's highly refined pattern recognition that evolved over millennia to keep groups alive in dangerous situations. But this ancient programming creates unique challenges in our modern world. Your nervous system is calibrated for immediate physical threats, not the chronic psychological stress of deadlines, traffic jams, and social media drama. When your boss sends a harsh email, your body responds as if a saber-toothed tiger just appeared. Your heart rate spikes, stress hormones flood your system, and every instinct screams at you to fight or run, neither of which is appropriate in a corporate environment. This mismatch between your biological inheritance and contemporary life explains many of the struggles type O individuals face. You might find yourself getting frustrated with bureaucracy, feeling suffocated by excessive rules, or becoming impatient with people who seem to overthink simple situations. These aren't character flaws. They're the natural responses of someone carrying genetic memories of life or death decision-making. Your digestive system also bears the mark of your hunter heritage. It produces more stomach acid than other blood types, designed to break down the protein-rich diet your ancestors relied on. You probably feel more energized and satisfied after eating meat, and might struggle with feeling sluggish or bloated when your diet consists mainly of processed carbohydrates and grains that weren't part of the original human menu. The warrior archetype in you craves authenticity above all else. You can sense dishonesty and manipulation from a mile away because your ancestors needed to quickly identify threats within their own groups. This makes you valuable in situations requiring trust and loyalty, but it can also make you impatient with the social games and political maneuvering that characterize many modern workplaces and relationships. Your natural leadership style tends to be direct and action-oriented. You'd rather make a decent decision quickly than spend weeks crafting the perfect plan. This approach served hunter-gatherer societies well, where hesitation could mean death, but it sometimes conflicts with contemporary expectations for collaboration and consensus building. Understanding your Type O inheritance doesn't mean you're doomed to be aggressive or impatient. Instead, it means you can channel these powerful instincts in constructive directions. When you align your life with your natural rhythms, taking on leadership roles, staying physically active, eating foods that match your genetic programming, and surrounding yourself with people who appreciate directness, you become incredibly effective and fulfilled. By the way, if you're curious to go even deeper and integrate your shadows and light, check out the Sim Method ebook. It's a concise guide that can help you unlock your inner power in just 5 minutes a day. The link is in the first pinned comment below. 3. Type A, the hidden perfectionist. When the Ice Age ended and vast grasslands gave way to fertile river valleys, humanity faced its greatest transformation. The nomadic hunters, who had roamed freely for thousands of years, suddenly found themselves in a world where survival depended not on swift reflexes and bold action, but on patience, planning, and meticulous attention to detail. If Type A blood flows through your veins, you carry the genetic memory of the farmers who built civilization itself. Your ancestors were the first humans to look at wild grass and envision golden fields of grain. They were the ones who watched the seasonal patterns, calculated when to plant and when to harvest, and developed the complex social structures needed to sustain permanent settlements. This wasn't just a career change. It was a complete rewiring of human psychology that still shapes how you see and respond to the world today. Jung would recognize you as the embodiment of the sage archetype, the careful observer who sees patterns others miss and understands that true security comes from thorough preparation. But unlike the academic stereotype of wisdom, your version of the sage is deeply practical. You're driven to create order from chaos, to build systems that protect against uncertainty, and to anticipate problems before they become crises. The shift from hunting to farming required completely different mental skills. Instead of making split-second decisions based on immediate threats, your ancestors had to think months ahead. They needed to save seeds when food was scarce, maintain tools during abundant times, and coordinate complex group activities where everyone's contribution mattered. This long-term thinking became embedded in their DNA and flows through you today as an almost compulsive need to plan and prepare. Your nervous system reflects this agricultural heritage. Where Type O individuals are wired for immediate action, you're designed for sustained, careful effort. Your stress response is more nuanced, allowing you to function effectively under chronic pressure rather than just acute threats. But this also means you're more sensitive to environmental chaos and feel genuinely disturbed when things seem out of control or unpredictable. The perfectionist tendencies that drive you aren't about vanity or impossible standards. They're survival mechanisms inherited from people who understood that small mistakes could doom entire communities. If your ancestor miscalculated the planting season or failed to store enough grain for winter, people died. This created a genetic line of individuals who naturally spot potential problems and feel compelled to fix them before disaster strikes. Your digestive system also carries the mark of agricultural adaptation. Unlike the meat-focused Type O system, yours evolved to process the grain-based diet that sustained farming communities. You probably feel more stable and energized when eating regular meals with complex carbohydrates and might struggle with the high-protein, intermittent eating patterns that work well for other blood types. Modern life both supports and challenges your Type A inheritance. On one hand, our complex society rewards the planning skills and attention to detail that come naturally to you. You excel in environments that require coordination, systematic thinking, and quality control. You're the person others turn to when they need something done right the first time, and you take genuine satisfaction in creating order and efficiency. But the same sensitivity that makes you excellent at spotting problems can become overwhelming in our information-saturated world. Your ancestors dealt with a limited set of variables: weather, crops, seasons, and a small community of people. Today, you're bombarded with countless potential threats and problems that trigger your ancient warning systems, even when there's nothing you can actually do about them. The farming mindset in you craves routine and predictability because these patterns signal safety and abundance. You probably perform best when you have consistent schedules, clear expectations, and time to process changes before implementing them. Sudden disruptions don't just inconvenience you. They activate deep survival fears inherited from people who knew that unexpected events often meant starvation or death. Your approach to relationships reflects this agricultural heritage as well. Just as farming required stable, long-term partnerships to succeed, you tend to invest deeply in a smaller circle of trusted connections rather than maintaining numerous casual friendships. You're naturally loyal and supportive, but you also expect others to honor their commitments and contribute consistently to shared goals. The perfectionist in you isn't trying to make everything flawless for its own sake. You're trying to create the stable, secure environment that your genetic programming recognizes as essential for survival. When you organize your living space, plan detailed schedules, or worry about potential problems, you're following ancient instructions to prepare for challenges that might threaten the people you care about. Understanding your Type A inheritance means recognizing that your careful, methodical approach to life isn't excessive or neurotic. It's the expression of genetic wisdom that built human civilization. Your ancestors literally created the foundation for everything we enjoy today: agriculture, permanent settlements, written language, and complex social institutions. The same psychological patterns that enabled these achievements are still active in you, waiting to be channeled toward purposes worthy of your inherited capabilities. 4. Type B, the misunderstood nomad. While some humans settled into farming communities and others remained hunters in familiar territories, a third group emerged with a radically different survival strategy. They became the wanderers, the adaptable ones who could thrive anywhere and everywhere. If Type B blood courses through your body, you carry the restless spirit of humanity's greatest adventurers, the nomads who turned the entire world into their home. Your ancestors were the people who looked at mountain ranges and saw highways, who viewed different cultures as opportunities rather than threats, and who discovered that survival sometimes meant abandoning everything familiar and starting fresh somewhere completely new. This wasn't reckless wandering. It was strategic adaptability that allowed them to flourish in environments where others would perish. Jung would see you as the living embodiment of the explorer archetype, but not the romantic version that seeks thrills for entertainment. Your exploration is driven by a deeper psychological need to experience the full spectrum of human possibility. You're naturally drawn to variety, change, and new perspectives because these elements activate ancient survival systems that helped your bloodline succeed for thousands of years. The nomadic lifestyle required mental flexibility that other blood types never needed to develop. Your ancestors had to learn new languages, adapt to different climates, negotiate with foreign tribes, and constantly adjust their strategies based on changing circumstances. This created a genetic line of individuals who are naturally comfortable with ambiguity and uncertainty, traits that often confuse and sometimes threaten people with more structured psychological patterns. Your nervous system reflects this adaptive heritage. Unlike Type O individuals who are wired for immediate action, or Type A people who thrive on predictable routines, you're designed to remain calm and creative under constantly shifting conditions. You probably perform best when you have multiple projects, diverse social connections, and regular exposure to new experiences that stimulate your inherited need for variety. But this same adaptability can be misunderstood in a world that values specialization and consistency. Others might perceive your natural flexibility as indecisiveness or lack of commitment. They don't realize that your mind is designed to see multiple valid solutions to every problem, and that forcing yourself into rigid categories actually works against your most powerful psychological strengths. Your digestive system also carries the nomadic signature. Unlike blood types that evolved in specific geographic regions with consistent food sources, yours developed the ability to process a wide variety of foods efficiently. You probably do well with diverse diets that include elements from different cultural traditions and might struggle when restricted to narrow nutritional approaches that work well for more specialized blood types. The nomad in you has a unique relationship with belongingness. While other blood types tend to define themselves through their connections to particular places or groups, you find identity through movement and change itself. You're capable of forming genuine bonds with people from vastly different backgrounds, but you also need regular infusions of novelty to feel psychologically healthy and alive. Modern society presents both opportunities and challenges for your Type B inheritance. On the positive side, our globalized world offers unprecedented access to the diversity and cross-cultural experiences that feed your soul. You can build careers that involve travel, learning, and constant adaptation. You excel in roles that require creativity, problem-solving, and the ability to work with people from different backgrounds and perspectives. However, many contemporary institutions are built around the assumption that everyone thrives with clear hierarchies, specialized roles, and consistent routines. Educational systems, corporate structures, and even relationship expectations often conflict with your natural need for flexibility and exploration. You might find yourself labeled as uncommitted or unfocused when you're actually operating according to a different but equally valid psychological blueprint. Your approach to challenges is distinctly nomadic, where Type O individuals might confront problems directly and Type A people might plan systematic solutions. You tend to look for creative alternatives that others haven't considered. You're naturally good at finding unconventional approaches that work around obstacles rather than fighting them head-on. The nomad archetype in you also carries a deep understanding that everything is temporary. This perspective can be both liberating and isolating. You're less likely to be devastated by setbacks because you know that circumstances always change, but you might also struggle to fully commit to situations that others find deeply meaningful. Your inherited wisdom includes the knowledge that human potential is far broader than most people imagine. Your ancestors proved that humans could adapt to Arctic tundra, desert heat, mountain altitudes, and tropical humidity, often within a single lifetime. This genetic memory makes you naturally optimistic about human capabilities and resistant to anyone who tries to convince you that you're limited by your current circumstances. Understanding your Type B inheritance means recognizing that your need for variety and change isn't restlessness or dissatisfaction. It's the expression of genetic wisdom that kept your bloodline alive by remaining endlessly adaptable. Your ancestors were the ones who discovered new lands, created trade routes between distant cultures, and proved that human beings could thrive anywhere on Earth. 5. Type AB, the living enigma among us. In the grand tapestry of human evolution, most bloodlines followed clear paths: the hunters, the farmers, the nomads. But then something extraordinary happened. Two distinct genetic streams converged, creating something that had never existed before in human history. If Type AB blood flows through your veins, you are literally a fusion of opposites, carrying the memories of both the methodical farmer and the restless wanderer in equal measure. You represent less than 4% of the human population, making you one of the rarest psychological types on Earth. This isn't just statistical curiosity. It's a fundamental reality that shapes every aspect of how you experience life. You are the biological bridge between contradictory ways of being human, and this unique position comes with both extraordinary gifts and profound challenges that most people cannot comprehend. Jung would recognize you as the embodiment of the magician archetype, not the theatrical performer with tricks and illusions, but the deeper psychological pattern of someone who can synthesize opposing forces into something entirely new. You possess the rare ability to see truth in multiple perspectives simultaneously, to find common ground between enemies, and to create solutions that transcend the limitations of either-or thinking. Your genetic inheritance is literally unprecedented. The careful, planning-oriented mindset of Type AA combines with the adaptable, exploratory nature of Type B to create a consciousness that operates on multiple levels simultaneously. You can be deeply methodical when situations require systematic approaches, yet instantly shift to creative flexibility when circumstances demand innovation. This isn't personality inconsistency. It's genetic sophistication. The fusion of farming and nomadic memories in your blood creates a unique relationship with both stability and change. Unlike pure Type A individuals who crave consistent routines, or Type B people who thrive on constant variety, you need both elements to feel psychologically complete. You might find yourself drawn to careers or lifestyles that offer structured foundations with built-in opportunities for exploration and growth. Your nervous system reflects this dual inheritance in fascinating ways. You can handle both the sustained pressure that Type A individuals manage well and the constant adaptation that energizes Type B people. But you also carry the sensitivities of both types, which means you're more susceptible to overstimulation than any other blood type. Your psychological antennae are incredibly sensitive, picking up subtle environmental and social cues that others miss entirely. This sensitivity isn't weakness. It's the price of being a living bridge between different ways of experiencing reality. You process information through multiple filters simultaneously, which gives you remarkable insight into human behavior and social dynamics. You can often sense the unspoken tensions in a room, understand what people really mean beneath their words, and see patterns that escape more psychologically specialized individuals. Your digestive system also reflects your dual nature. You inherited both the grain processing capabilities of agricultural peoples and the dietary flexibility of nomadic groups. This means you can thrive on more varied nutrition than any other blood type. But you also need to be more conscious about balance. Your body requires the stable nutrition patterns that support type A functioning alongside the dietary variety that keeps type B systems healthy. The challenge of being type AB lies in learning to integrate your contradictory impulses rather than being torn apart by them. You might experience internal conflicts between your desire for security and your need for adventure, between your appreciation for tradition and your attraction to innovation, between your capacity for deep focus and your craving for mental stimulation. Modern society often struggles to understand people like you because most systems are designed for more straightforward psychological patterns. You might be told you're indecisive when you're actually seeing validity in multiple approaches. You could be labeled as inconsistent when you're responding appropriately to different aspects of complex situations. Others might perceive you as aloof or mysterious when you're simply processing information through more sophisticated internal filters. Your approach to relationships reflects your dual inheritance as well. You have the type A capacity for deep, loyal connections combined with the type B ability to connect across different social groups and cultural boundaries. This makes you an excellent mediator and counselor, but it can also leave you feeling like you don't fully belong to any single community or social category. The rarity of your blood type means you're likely to feel misunderstood more often than others. Most people operate from single archetypal patterns. They're primarily warriors, sages, or explorers. But you're carrying multiple archetypes simultaneously, which gives you broader perspective, but can also create a sense of isolation. You see the world through a lens that most others don't share, and this can be both lonely and empowering. Your inherited wisdom comes from two different survival strategies that your ancestors somehow learned to balance successfully. You carry genetic memories of both the patient cultivation that built civilization and the adaptive wandering that explored every corner of the globe. This dual inheritance makes you naturally equipped to thrive in our complex modern world, where success often requires combining careful planning with creative flexibility. Understanding your type AB nature means embracing the contradiction rather than trying to resolve it into something simpler. You are designed to be paradoxical, to hold opposing truths simultaneously, and to create new possibilities from the tension between different ways of being. Your rarity isn't an accident. It's evidence that human evolution continues to generate new forms of consciousness capable of meeting increasingly complex challenges. 6. RH factor, the mark of the chosen ones. Beyond the familiar categories of AB, and O lies another dimension of blood typing that carries perhaps the most mysterious implications of all. The RH factor, specifically whether you are RH positive or RH negative, represents a genetic anomaly so profound that scientists still struggle to explain its origins and significance. If you carry RH negative blood, you belong to a lineage that defies conventional understanding of human evolution. Approximately 85% of humans are RH positive, meaning they carry a protein on their red blood cells that appears in all other primates and most mammals. But 15% of the population lacks this protein entirely, creating a biological mystery that has puzzled researchers for decades. Unlike other blood type variations that can be traced to specific evolutionary pressures and geographical adaptations, RH negative blood seems to have appeared without clear environmental triggers. The implications become even more intriguing when you consider the biological consequences. When an RH negative mother carries an RH positive baby, her immune system treats the child as a foreign invader and begins producing antibodies to attack it. This hemolytic disease would have been fatal throughout most of human history, yet the RH negative gene not only survived, but thrived in certain populations. Something about this genetic line was so valuable that it overcame a significant reproductive disadvantage. Jung understood that some individuals carry psychological patterns that seem to operate outside normal human parameters. He studied people who appeared to access knowledge and insights that couldn't be explained through ordinary learning or experience. The Rh negative factor might represent the biological marker of this psychological difference, a genetic signature of individuals whose consciousness operates according to different rules. If you carry Rh negative blood, you might notice that your intuitive abilities seem unusually strong. You could find yourself knowing things without being able to explain how you learned them, sensing other people's emotions and intentions with uncomfortable accuracy, or having dreams and insights that later prove remarkably prescient. These aren't mystical gifts in the supernatural sense. They're the expression of a nervous system that processes information differently than the majority pattern. The geographic distribution of Rh negative blood provides additional clues to its significance. The highest concentrations appear in populations descended from ancient European lineages, particularly in areas associated with Celtic and Basque heritage. These were cultures known for their advanced metallurgy, sophisticated astronomical knowledge, and complex spiritual practices that seemed to emerge without clear precedent from neighboring civilizations. Your Rh status affects more than just blood transfusion compatibility. Research suggests that Rh negative individuals have different baseline stress hormone levels, altered immune system functioning, and variations in brain chemistry that influence everything from temperature regulation to pain sensitivity. These differences are subtle but consistent, suggesting that Rh factor represents a genuine biological variant rather than a random genetic accident. The psychological implications of carrying Rh negative blood often manifest as a sense of being fundamentally different from most other people. You might feel like an observer of human behavior rather than a full participant, as if you're studying a species that you belong to genetically, but not temperamentally. This perspective can create both profound insights and significant loneliness. Many Rh negative individuals report feeling drawn to ancient history, alternative healing methods, and philosophical questions about human origins and purpose. This attraction isn't mere intellectual curiosity. It might represent genetic memories seeking expression through conscious exploration. Your bloodline could carry information about human capabilities and potential that mainstream science hasn't yet recognized or validated. The rarity and mystery of Rh negative blood has unfortunately attracted various conspiracy theories and pseudoscientific claims. But beneath the sensationalism lies a legitimate scientific puzzle that deserves serious investigation. Your genetic heritage represents something genuinely unusual in human biology, and understanding its implications could reveal important truths about human evolution and consciousness. If you carry Rh negative blood, you're part of a genetic minority that has survived against biological odds for reasons that science doesn't fully comprehend. Whether this represents an ancient lineage, a recent mutation, or something else entirely, your blood carries information that distinguishes you from the majority of human beings in ways that extend far beyond medical considerations. The mark you carry isn't about superiority or special destiny in any mystical sense. Instead, it's evidence that human genetic diversity includes patterns that don't fit conventional evolutionary models. You represent proof that consciousness and biology are more complex and varied than most people realize, and that the full spectrum of human potential is still being discovered and understood. Your Rh negative inheritance connects you to one of biology's genuine mysteries, a genetic signature that shouldn't exist according to standard evolutionary theory, but persists nonetheless. Understanding this aspect of your blood type means embracing both the scientific uncertainty and the profound implications of carrying genetic information that challenges our basic assumptions about what it means to be human. 5. Type AB, the living enigma among us. If type AB blood flows through your veins, you are literally a fusion of opposites, carrying the memories of both the methodical farmer and the restless wanderer. You represent less than 4% of the human population, making you one of the rarest psychological types on Earth. Jung would recognize you as the embodiment of the magician archetype, the psychological pattern of someone who can synthesize opposing forces into something entirely new. You possess the rare ability to see truth in multiple perspectives simultaneously and create solutions that transcend either-or thinking. Your genetic inheritance is unprecedented. The careful, planning-oriented mindset of Type A combines with the adaptable, exploratory nature of Type B to create consciousness that operates on multiple levels. You can be deeply methodical when situations require systematic approaches, yet instantly shift to creative flexibility when circumstances demand innovation. You need both stability and change to feel psychologically complete. Your nervous system can handle sustained pressure and constant adaptation, but you also carry sensitivities of both types. Your psychological antennae pick up subtle environmental and social cues that others miss entirely. The challenge of being Type AB lies in integrating contradictory impulses. You might experience internal conflicts between your desire for security and your need for adventure, between appreciation for tradition and attraction to innovation. Most people operate from single archetypal patterns, but you carry multiple archetypes simultaneously. Your rarity means you often feel misunderstood. You see the world through a lens most others don't share, which can be both lonely and empowering. Understanding your Type AB nature means embracing the contradiction rather than trying to resolve it into something simpler. 6. RH factor, the mark of the chosen ones. Beyond A, B, AB, and O lies another dimension that carries the most mysterious implications of all. If you carry Rh negative blood, you belong to a lineage that defies conventional understanding of human evolution. 85% of humans are Rh positive, carrying a protein that appears in all other primates. But 15% lack this protein entirely, creating a biological mystery. When an Rh negative mother carries an Rh positive baby, her immune system attacks the child. This should have eliminated the gene, yet it thrived. Jung studied people who seemed to access knowledge beyond ordinary experience. The Rh negative factor might represent the biological marker of this difference, a genetic signature of individuals whose consciousness operates according to different rules. If you carry Rh negative blood, your intuitive abilities might seem unusually strong. You could find yourself knowing things without explanation, sensing emotions with uncomfortable accuracy, or having dreams that prove prescient. These are expressions of a nervous system that processes information differently. Research suggests Rh negative individuals have different stress hormone levels, altered immune functioning, and brain chemistry variations. Many report feeling like observers of human behavior rather than full participants, drawn to ancient history and philosophical questions about human origins. Your genetic heritage represents something genuinely unusual in human biology. You're part of a minority that survived against biological odds for reasons science doesn't comprehend. This connects you to one of biology's genuine mysteries. Genetic information that challenges basic assumptions about what it means to be human. As you close your eyes tonight and feel your pulse beneath your skin, remember that each heartbeat carries the whispers of countless ancestors who survived impossible odds so you could exist. Your blood is not just liquid, it's liquid destiny, flowing with the accumulated wisdom of warriors, farmers, nomads, and enigmas who faced their greatest fears and emerged victorious. The question that remains is simple yet profound. Now that you know the ancient code running through your veins, what will you do with this inherited power? Your bloodline didn't survive for thousands of years just to end with you living a mediocre life. The time has come to honor the gift flowing within you and step into the destiny that has been calling your name since the moment you took your first breath.